What's going on, all you movie lover badasses? Phat Samurai Guy here, and I just got done watching Assassin's Creed. Oh man. Okay, Assassin's Creed, the film, starring Michael Fassbender, came out last year. It was one of those movies that I really was excited to see, but I just never got around to seeing it. I missed it. I heard a lot of negative things about it. I heard a lot of fans of the games were not fans of this film. Some liked it though. Some of it was a little mixed. But me, I'm kind of fired because I actually own a few of the games, but I never got a chance to beat them or really dive into them. I was just kind of collecting and buying games for cheap. So I'm not the target audience, okay? But I have to judge this as a movie. So, let me know at the end of the video in the comments below, those of you that have played the games, what you really, really, really hated about this film, if I missed anything. So, let me get the good things out of the way. Michael Fassbender's good. He's good in the movie. He tries. He definitely gives effort. Marianne Cotillard, I believe her name is, and Jeremy Irons. They both were a little stale. They both were a little wooden, but maybe that could be, due to the material they had to work with, which really wasn't that much. So, they were kind of wooden. So anybody could have played their parts, is what I'm saying. Some of the visuals were okay. You get a lot of camera work, a lot of sweeping vistas and stuff like that. Some of the cinematography was fine, and some of the action was okay. Now the bad. Okay. So we have a very uninteresting plot. I mean, just boring. This movie was boring. I think that was the main problem of the film. You see Michael Fassbender as a young child, and he comes home one day, seeing his mother dead, played by the mother of Babadook, and his father's there, and he sees that he killed her, and then Jeremy Irons and everybody shows up in vehicles, and then his father tells his son to run, and for all these years his son has grown up in orphanages and been in and out of homes and just kind of been a knucklehead, getting into crime and all that stuff. Well, he ends up getting put into prison for killing a pimp. Assassin's Creed! He ends up getting sent to death in prison. They inject him with the fluid. He then wakes up in front of Marion, and she tells him, "Oh, we faked your death because we have other plans for you. We want you to hook up into this fucking ridiculous machine called the Optimus, I think. I think that's what it was called. And this machine apparently has the ability to have the person that's strapped up to the machine go back in time, kind of, and relive their ancestors' memories. They need him because his ancestor back in the day was part of the Assassin's Creed, and he has the MacGuffin that we're going to call Applejacks, okay? The MacGuffin that can basically get rid of all violence, or at least get rid of the need to be violent, apparently. Yes. Okay, you still with me? And his ancestor was the last one to have Applejacks. So they need him to relive his ancestors' memories to find the Applejacks. What annoyed me with this fucking machine was that it was so ridiculous and so impractical. Because every time he would be, reliving the memories back in the day, period piece setting, back way, way, way back in the 1400s or whatever the fuck. When he's reliving that, the movie cuts to him in the stupid machine, climbing around and doing the fighting and stuff, and it was just ridiculous. It was ridiculous. I don't know why they just didn't simplify it and have it just be Matrix style. He was already hooked up to something. All he had to do was just sit down and be hooked up to something and just relive the memories like that. So basically, if Fassbender's riding a horse and they cut back to that time, when he's in Artemis, is he just in mid-space air just... It's ridiculous. So for many centuries, you have the Templars that are trying to find the apple bottoms, okay? So that they can rule the world, and then there's always versus the assassins. So it's assassins versus the Templars, which could have been a really cool, interesting, badass story. It could have been that. But I was okay from the beginning of the film up to right before the action sequence chase where back in the period piece setting where Michael Fassbender's ancestor and the female assassin are tied up in the chains. I was okay. Okay, I wasn't really hating the movie. I was fine. I was fine with the film. Okay. But when it got up to that sequence, and then he breaks out of his chain, and then they fight all these dudes, that action sequence was actually pretty well done, despite there being a lot of jump cuts. Okay, there was a lot of jump cuts, a little bit of shaky cam here and there, but nothing too much to where it annoyed the fuck out of me, and I was just flipping the movie off. Okay, there was a lot of jump cuts, but it wasn't as much as what usually annoys me in that action sequence. But what I really liked about that action sequence was it was very lengthy. It was very long. All right, we start off here, breaking from the chains, then we're running up on the roofs, then we're running across wires, then we're shooting arrows at people, then we're fighting people over here, fighting people over there. It was a very long, meaty, lengthy action sequence, and I was like, hey, this is still going. All right, I'm liking this. It's not filmed the greatest, but I'm still liking it. It's very lengthy. All right, let's do this. And then a little birdie whispered into my ear and told me, you know, this is probably the best action sequence in the movie, right? You know, you're probably watching that right now, right? And yep, yeah. I had a feeling. I knew it. Right when that action sequence ended, I knew. I had a feeling that that was the best action sequence in the film, and unfortunately, it was. After that action sequence was when my attention span and me just trying to pay attention and trying to be invested, it started to slump, man. It started to die, and I was getting bored, and I just didn't care. And all the scenes back in real time with Fassbender were just so bland, so boring. Everyone was so wooden, except for Fassbender. He tried, but it was just, it started to slump. To the point where when we go back to his ancestors' time, for the final mission to get the apple bottoms, I was even bored there. And the worst thing is, in that action sequence, every time like I was saying earlier, every time they would cut to Michael Fassbender, this scene, earlier in the film, they did it, but they didn't do it as much. But in this scene, the third time, our third period piece scene, they did it a lot. They did it way too much, and it was distracting every time they would cut back to real-time Fassbender fighting, doing the motions, And it was just like, we're cutting back and forth, we're cutting back and forth, we're cutting back and forth. It's like, just show him play his ancestors' memory, do a really cool fight sequence, film it correctly so we can see the fucking fight, and just let us enjoy that. Like, why cut back and forth? We know what Fassbender's doing. He's grabbing a spear and he's stabbing somebody with it or whatever, or using the blade and, shanking someone with it. We know what he's doing. We don't have to show ancestor shank midway and then cut back to Fassbender real time finishing the shank. And of course, the third act, which I was really checked out, the whole big twist or reveal that we saw a mile away was that the Templars were disguised as the assassins, and Jeremy Irons turned out to be evil, and Marianne's all, oh, how could you? This was my life work. How could you do that? You lied to me. Oh, whatever. So then you got Michael Fassbender teaming up with the other assassin rejects that's in that same compound that he's in. And then we get a semi-decent action sequence with all the guards coming in and they all team up. And it's not bad. It's not a bad action sequence. I don't like the jump camera work. I don't know why, it's just being, the director's trying to be fancy. So he would do this weird, cutting like that, which wasn't needed. But it was solid. We got a pretty decent body count. Then at the end of the movie, you have the big meeting where all the Templars get together and they're having this big ceremony celebration. Marianne's there and she's all upset that she's part of it. No, you lied to me, blah, blah, blah. Then you have Jeremy Irons come out to give the big speech that, I have in my hand the Golden Globe of Applejack Bottoms. He's holding in or whatever. And now we can rule the world and get rid of all free will. Blah, 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 blah. So then we have the Assassin's Creed Fassbender leading this new team, and they're all together. They show up, and he meets up with Marianne and tells her, hey, not everything needs to live. You know what I got to do? Get out of my way. All I have to do is scream, is what she says. And whatever. He's like, hey, I gotta do what I gotta do. So she lets him do it. He goes in there, he kills Jeremy Irons, grabs the apple bottoms, escapes, and I might have read this wrong. So those of you out there who have seen this movie already, let me know in the comments below if I got this wrong or if I got this right. The movie, it kind of seemed like they were trying to set up that Marion now is the new villain and the leader of the Templars. I mean, I know there's memories of her ancestors being, in the, the Templar, the Knights Templar, or whatever the fuck. But it didn't make any sense. So she gets betrayed by her father, okay? He lied to her, fucked up her whole life's work, all right, to do good and save people. Now it's unfortunately being used to destroy shit. Okay, doesn't stop Fassbender, allows him to go in and kill her dad. He kills her dad, and all of a sudden at the end of the movie, she's walking out and looking up at the sky, and I'm just like, don't, movie, I may be reading this wrong, but I'm just like, movie, don't tell me you were trying to set up that she is now, I'm mad now because you killed my dad, even though I let you walk by me and kill my dad. So if that's the truth, then fuck this movie even more. Then the movie ends with all three assassins with Fassbender on top of the rooftop. And the camera swivels around and Fassbender looks at the camera and then falls down. Yes, so yeah, that's the end of the movie. Kinda setting up a sequel. And unfortunately, Assassin's Creed is a perfect example of people jumping the gun and trying to, we gotta make that trilogy. We gotta make that franchise. And it was just like, you know what? Just concentrate on making a fucking good movie first, okay? Just concentrate on making the best movie that you absolutely can. Just do that first. See where that goes, okay? So that's how I feel about this movie. Unfortunately, way back, if you watch our Can Video Game Movies Genre Be Saved? It was an old discussion video we did like a long time ago. You should be able to find it on the channel. But way back in the day, before Warcraft, before this movie came out, we were all hopeful. We were talking, me and Lady Fat Blood was talking about the film. And so it's like, God dang it. God dang it. Yeah, so is it the worst video game movie? No, it's nowhere near the shit, the 0-star shit that is all the Uwe Boll movies. Okay, Blood Rain, House of the Dead, those type of fucking movies. In the Name of the King, whatever the fuck. It's nowhere near as bad as those films, but unfortunately it was just way too bland, not enough action, and 3 times being in his ancestors' memories. 3 times out of the whole fucking movie, it was a period piece setting, which was the most interesting part of at least the first 2 were the most interesting part of the film, and that's unacceptable, man. And I'm not even a huge fan of the games because I haven't really got a chance to get into them. So it's sad. It's sad, but one day we'll get a good video game movie again. So I give Assassin's Creed 2.7 out of 5 stars. And really the only reason I give it that 2.7 is because I know for a fact, and you can tell, that the action stuntmen, the martial artists, all of them, the parkour, the stunt team, they all work their asses off. You could kind of tell from this film that they really tried hard to do a good job in the film. So they get the props in this movie. So, but yeah, that's the only reason it's getting a 2.7. I'm sure a lot of you out there probably give the movie a lot lower. But hey, if you love the movie, hey, let me know why in the comments below. I'd be really interested to know why you guys absolutely love this film. I think it would be really interesting. Alright, that's it for today's video. Thanks again for watching. You guys rock. I'll see you guys next time.
Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe.